Hi everybody, Leo Babauta from Zen Habits here, and in this video we're going to talk about anger and how to actually deal with anger, how to practice with it, if that's something that you feel a lot. So maybe you are someone who is like quick to lose your temper, maybe you get frustrated a lot and take it out on others, maybe you get mad at your kids or your spouse or your mom. Maybe you're seen as someone who's very reactive and you judge that about yourself and you'd like to change it. So how do we deal with this? So the first thing I want to encourage, this is going to be tough for you if you've done some things around hurting others through your anger. But the first thing I want to encourage is a sense of compassion for yourself. The reason is we often can be very judgmental about ourselves, and as long as we're judging it, we don't want it to be there and we want to push it away. And so as long as we judge it, want to push it away, we are not going to be able to take full responsibility for it because we feel shame and we don't think it should be there, and often we won't even see it. If we don't think it should be there, it becomes a blind spot. It's like, no, I didn't get angry. That's on you, right? Um, and so you might not think that that's a problem. You're like, I know I get angry, but trust me, this is something that as long as we're judging it, we want to push it under the surface. We don't want to face it, and it becomes really hard to deal with. So the first thing we want to do is hold it with a sense of compassion. And how do we do that when we're angry at ourselves, right? Well, we want to just come from the idea that we are doing our best. We're trying our best in the world, and yeah, we're falling short. Yeah, we're doing things that might be harmful to ourselves or others, but we're doing the best that we can, and we come from good intentions. We're not bad people. And so, yes, we make mistakes, but the way to deal with mistakes is to take responsibility for them, forgive ourselves, and then learn how to work with them. Not by beating ourselves up, not by judging or being harsh or criticizing. So, a sense of compassion. We are trying our best. That doesn't mean we just forget about it now that we've forgiven ourselves, but I really want to encourage a sense of compassion, the idea that you're trying your best, and forgive yourself for mistakes. Now, if you have made mistakes that hurt others, maybe you've yelled at your kids or spanked them, maybe you've yelled at your spouse or coworkers or family members. If you've done things that hurt others, have a sense of compassion for yourself, but also take responsibility. So what that means is, yeah, of course you weren't trying to hurt them, but you did. So this is not about intention, but about impact. And so if you have had a negative impact on others, what I encourage is for you to take responsibility for that. Just have a conversation with the person saying, hey, yesterday I snapped, or, I know I've been really short-tempered lately, or I've been doing this for a really long time and I'm trying to change it, and I want to just apologize to you. I'm not saying I'm never going to make this mistake again, but I'm really going to try hard to do better. And I just want you to know that I'm really sorry for how I've been acting. So it's not about beating yourself up or even feeling a great sense of guilt or shame, but really about, can I take responsibility? So this will start to create change in your life. If you're owning up to your mistakes, you're going to start to try and change that going forward. Okay, so now we have a sense of compassion and we have a sense of responsibility, owning up, forgiving ourselves and asking for forgiveness. What can we do? There's a couple of things that I want to point out. The first thing is that anger is often about a sense of powerlessness. Anger isn't the only response to feeling powerless, but it is usually a response. So let's imagine someone, you know, uh, I don't know, they did something to your favorite dish and it's broken now, right? Your dish is broken. You're like, like, why did they do that? They were so careless. And so you get angry, but the reason is you can't do anything about that. The dish is broken. They broke it without your permission. Maybe they were careless, whatever the reason is, but now it is broken and there's nothing you can do. what's done is done, right? And we can, that was a small thing, but what if someone, took a baseball bat to your car, and just started smashing it, right? You're there's nothing you can do about that after the fact. It's done. Or maybe they use something without your permission, or maybe they decided something without asking you. You feel powerless. And so we get angry when we feel powerless. If you think about, if you have a partner or a spouse, anytime when, they've done something that made you really angry, it's probably because you felt powerless. If your boss is doing something and not asking you or forcing you to do something, you might feel angry because you are, you feel powerless in the situation. Often anger on a national or global scale comes because people start to feel powerless. They're like, people are taking my jobs, or they're invading my country, or whatever the thing is. They're feeling powerless and they start getting angry and they start blaming the immigrants or whatever. There's lots of other versions of that, but that would be one example. It's like, I'm feeling powerless. Things feel like I'm losing power. I'm losing control over my society. And I'm really angry about it. So I'm not trying to justify, the way that people are racist or blaming immigrants or any of that kind of stuff. But what I'm saying is that's an example of people getting angry because they feel powerless. We also feel powerless about climate change, and we get angry about that. We feel angry about misogyny and racism, and we get angry about that. We feel angry about how people act online because we're feeling powerless. So powerlessness is at the heart of it. And if we can catch that, realize that we're feeling powerless, then the thing to do about it is to actually let ourselves feel powerless. Imagine that there's actually nothing wrong with feeling powerless. Powerlessness is something that all humans feel. If you're in a relationship, if you have a job, if you're doing any kind of meaningful work, if you're in a community, if you have loved ones, you're going to feel powerless sometimes. And so will they, right? And so will others. Immigrants feel powerless, and the people who are in a community with immigrants can feel powerless. Both of them do. And so we all feel powerless. So what if it's okay and you can just let yourself feel powerless sometimes? I'm not saying that you don't do anything about that in the future. I'm saying for a minute or two, could you just feel powerless and just like, ooh, this is what it feels like. And in doing so, you're actually taking some power back because you're saying, hey, it's actually okay. I can feel this. I can work with it. I can do something with it, which is to practice. And as you do so, let your powerless connect you to all others who feel powerless, which is all human beings. Everyone in the world who's in an abusive relationship, who's gone through some kind of trauma, who's gone through war, who's gone hungry, who loses a job, who gets dumped, who gets rejected in some way, who gets criticized, who has, decisions taken away from them. These are people who are feeling powerless. Can you let yourself feel for them? Just like you're feeling powerless now, so do others. And in this way, we get to connect to the hearts of others. Okay, now on a more practical level, I have a couple of tips for you. One of them is to breathe. When you notice yourself feeling angry, take a breath. If there's a lion in front of you, your breath is going to be shallow. You're going to be really super focused and you're going to do what you can to kick that lion in the head, right? Well, there's no lion that's actually in front of you. This person who's made you angry is not trying to make you angry. They're not trying to be a jerkwad. They're just doing their best. And what you need to do is calm yourself down. Second thing, besides breathing, is remove yourself from the situation if possible. So if you're in an argument with your spouse or partner, say, hey, I'm getting a little bit riled up right now. I think we should just take a break. Let's talk about this later when we have cooler heads. And then go somewhere else and take responsibility for your feelings. Let yourself feel the anger and feel powerless. Breathe deeply and then try and connect to some compassion for yourself and for the other person. If you acted badly before you took the break, apologize for it later when you have cooler head. And then finally, when we're angry, we're also feeling hurt. And so when we're hurt, we feel like a victim. Someone's doing something to us. And so if you can, just give yourself a little bit of compassion and love when you're feeling hurt. Take care of yourself. And once you do, you can start to rewrite the narrative so that you have more power. You're not a victim anymore. You're like, oh, actually, there's some things that I did to contribute to this situation. And then finally finish with love. How can I love this person? After I've dealt with my hurt, I've taken some responsibility and rewritten the narrative so that I'm an author and not a victim. Now I can actually start to have some love for this other person. Just appreciate, what can you appreciate about them? And what can you appreciate about yourself? If you do these things, your anger will start to transform. I wish you the best with this. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, any difficulties. If this was helpful, give it a thumbs up, and please do subscribe. Love to have you in the Zen Habits community longer term and create more content.